So this Sunday, I had some surprise inspiration for my project this week. I had planned to do something else, but that didn't happen, and I'll share more about all of this in the video. But for now, I've taken a picture and I'm just looking at it to see where I could take it and how I could experiment with my photo. And once I got started, I started to find the inspiration. It didn't happen right away, but that's the whole purpose of experimenting, is trying something and allowing the time to move you, to grow you, to give you inspiration. So what you're watching now is me working my way through this photo that I took, seeing how I could use it and make it and use it in a project. So I will explain more, and I hope you enjoy today's journey of noticing things. Well, hello my loves, and happy Sunday to you. So you have been watching me experiment. This is what happens when I'm unsure, and I've been sharing that with you. And this is my year of adventure. I will continue to say that over and over till it sinks in to my soul. I had planned to actually go outside of the studio for a little bit and take some pictures. And that's part of my process this year, is to step outside this space for my adventure year and notice and start to notice things and take a look at things a little bit more carefully, just even in my own neighborhood, on my own walks or wherever. stepping outside my comfort zone. Well, so over the last couple of days, and then for the rest of this week, we have extreme cold temperatures, just unbelievably cold. And so, like when I woke up this morning, it was 2 degrees. For me, that's too cold. That is way too cold. 30s, I can handle. 40s, even better. If we get into 45, 50 here, it's like springtime. But 2 degrees, no, thank you. So I thought, well, shucks. I don't want to go driving around in the cold and get out or go for a walk or anything like that. So I was thinking about, okay, well, that was kind of my plan for my inspiration for today. So while I was trying to decide, I get like a journal prompt or word of the day prompt from Morgan Harper Nichols on my phone. And that came as I was thinking about, okay, what am I going to do? And I read it and I was like, yes. So I'll read it to you in a second. But from that, I just here in the house, around the house, I just started to look around for things to notice that might be somewhat of an inspiration to me. And I happened to look out the window of our backyard, and it's that so cold that when it snows, you know, it's not the big fluffy snowflakes that are beautiful and it makes everything quiet. It's not like that. It's that tiny crystal that's kind of blowing in the wind that hurts when it hits you. It's that kind of snow right now. And it was so windy that it wasn't really even sticking to the ground. But when I looked at it, it had this really interesting pattern on our patio concrete. And I was like, okay, I like that. So I put my coat on and took my phone and went outside and took a picture of it. And that was the inspiration for my journal page. Now, you're probably thinking, really? That's your inspiration? But it is only sometimes the smallest things that it can inspire us. And it's not even so much the act of that picture. It's the whole of me noticing the wind, the crystals, of the ice, the everything, the whole part of that moment in time is what inspired me. So once I did, so I came in here and I quickly thought, okay, how can I use this? And I did my experimenting like you've seen. And I didn't even get all the way through it and I already had ideas. So from that, now we're going to go to this. So one thing before we dive into this, the membership doors are open for one more week when you see this. So if you are interested at all, you can check it out. If you're unsure, there is a free preview and a free preview section where you can get a taste of what's in the membership. And we have all kinds of new members joining every minute, every hour. It's awesome to see that happen. So if you're interested, you can check that out. All of the supplies will be listed in the blog, and the link to the blog will be down below in the YouTube description box. I'll go over a few things here with you right now, but the rest is up to whatever happens as we move through the project. So let's talk about what we're doing. So let me go back to this is my experiment. And yes, it looks grungy, and you're thinking it looks nothing like the picture that I took. And you are correct. However, in the midst of this, I already knew what I wanted to do to kind of bring it more to that. And then I also thought about my journal prompt with Morgan Harper Nichols, and I thought more about where I would take this, how those two could kind of go together. And so I didn't do any more on this. I could have, but I knew right away, for the most part. We'll see how it goes. You never know. But for the most part, I knew. So I just put papers down. I used my Utrecht gesso, which is a little thicker gesso, to get some texture. And then I used a lot of alcohol to pull it back. I put down some, and this, you saw me just go quickly to town. I put raw umber and Payne's Gray right on here, no mixing. This was my experiment, and that's what these pages are for. So I quickly put that down, rubbed it around, and wiped it off, and then came back, and it just dried like right away. And came back with a lot of alcohol and just pulled the layers back, and I love that. And so I want to kind of recreate that kind of really just grungy, pulled off paint all over the place for my piece. So now what I've done here, this is a 12 by 16 wood panel, and I have just taken papers from my scrap pile and put them down because I know there's not a whole lot that's going to be showing. There will be some peeking through here and there, and what I have down will be fine for that. They don't have specific meaning to the story or where I'm going. I don't think I'm thinking about, I don't think so. But they're going to add some texture, and they're also going to add just a few of these things peeking through. You never know, and it's always serendipity, and that's really what I love. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing, but with a little extra pizzazz. And then I want to incorporate, so when I started this experiment, I was thinking about flowers because that's kind of my journey right now of really kind of growing my skills with the freedom of my flowers. And I couldn't find it. It was so cold, and I thought flowers just don't feel right. However, I have some ideas, and I'm going to kind of work a few tiny little flowers into this piece. I think everything is always subject to change. All I know at this point is that and I put my papers down with fluid matte medium. I'm going to use raw umber. I'm going to use Payne's Gray. I'm going to use olive green, green gold. I will bring in some pops of colors for my flowers. So that's going to come in the form of probably some cad orange, some prism violet, some quin magenta, and possibly some cad yellow. I will have black and white gesso for my black and white, and some unbleached titanium as another neutral. I will be using my Utrecht gesso. I want to really make this textured, but I only want to use my gesso. So I want to layer as much as I possibly can, I think. Everything I say is always just an idea until I get going, and sometimes you see things as you are creating. So, we'll see what happens. And then I want to come back and add paper on top of that. I have some tissue paper pieces that I found in my stash that I think that I would like to kind of bring back. I can't find the paper. I also have some number stencils. Oh, the other thing, I don't have that out yet. Shucks, I forgot to get that out before I turned on the camera. I don't want to use that one this time. I have, oh my goodness, letters and numbers. Of course, that's just always kind of a staple on my table. And then I also want to use with my gesso is some pattern stencils. And I have some Moroccan tile stencils. I'm thinking that's going to work, but again, those will be listed on the blog, and the link to the blog will be down below in the YouTube description box. So I want some kind of really interesting pattern. I really want to stack the layers. That's what I'm thinking. All again, a giant experiment. So often we think that if, like I wanted to work on flowers, that if I don't work on flowers, that's, like I'm disappointing myself. And I'm not, because I have lots of interest in everything that I'm doing. My landscapes, my florals, my abstracts. I need to always practice on those. So we'll see where this goes. I have a vision for somewhat of an abstract with a tiny bit of landscape. I don't know how that's going to play out with its a few little flowers in there. So we'll see. This is just a 12 by 16 wood panel that I got from Michael's. Palette knife, and I will be using either my dough scraper or my credit card to kind of layer on some of those layers. And all of these layers, and I'm going to do it this way, not this way, even though I'm thinking of a landscape, except for maybe the last layer. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to stick with that original inspiration and see what happens. All we can do is experiment always. Our art is always just a giant experiment. That's what I want for this piece. Okay, so the prompt that I got today, so on my phone, she will send over kind of a reading, and then there's a journaling part where you can go in deeper if you want, besides just the reading. So the title of it is Welcoming Change, Welcoming Growth, which obviously caught my eye right away. Let me see. I want to go right to the part because it's kind of long. So she says, there will be times where the small things might not seem like enough, and that's okay. You don't have to encounter the whole flower field before you can delight in the one thing that bloomed. Even if you find yourself surrounded by flower fields that seemed to have bloomed for everyone else, that doesn't mean that the seeds of hope and courage that you have sown can no longer be watered and nurtured. And as soon as she started talking about the flower fields, blooming, nurturing, it really spoke to me, because that's kind of where I'm at right now, that adventure space, that my florals. And so I was really honed into this. And then she says, this is the best part. Pay attention to what is beautiful right here. And pay attention to how you live in a world where beautiful things can continue to grow. So that's what I was doing this morning. I was paying attention to the beautiful things in this cold, cold weather, in a dreary day. There are beautiful things. There are beautiful things all around us. We just have to notice them. And they can be the smallest, simplest things. And they cannot be beautiful to anyone else but us. If someone were to look at me taking a picture of this crisp snow flying around on my patio and me saying this is beautiful, they might not understand. But that's okay. So continue to trust that beautiful things will unfold in their time. Continue to trust that even here, when it feels like winter on the inside, and we can have winter on the inside when it's a sunny, sunny day outside. I've been there, I know it. Continue to trust that even here, when it feels like winter on the inside, there is movement. Inhales and exhales. You are still being taken. Flowers, just like you, are continuing to grow. We're growing in winter. We're growing in odd seasons. When everyone else is blooming and we're not blooming, it's okay. It's okay. We all have our own season of growth. At every stage, they are unfolding into their bloom, no matter who is or who is not watching. May you be the one who notices. Notice what still grows, even in the waiting. So as I wait to find inspiration or ideas or confidence or courage or skills to create the things that I want to create, I'm going to notice what I can do right now. I'm going to notice what's around me that will inspire me right now. And then, so she gives you a 2 or 3 line journal prompt. She gives you an affirmation, and then she gives you a word of the day. And the word of the day is perennial. Something that is continuing, recurring, or enduring. We are perennials. I'm a perennial. I'm going to say that. I'm a perennial because I am continuing. I am recurring. People just can't get rid of me. And I am enduring. I'm ready to go the distance for what it takes, for the things that I want to do and capture and see and be, and that adventure that I want to live in my day-to-day life. I'm a perennial. And so maybe you needed a little bit of that encouragement today, that maybe this isn't your season of blooming. That's okay. You're still enduring. You're still reoccurring. You're still walking the walk. It's just maybe not all rainbows and butterflies right now, or flowers. It's not summertime in here for you. And that's okay. We all have our seasons. And I want you to continue to walk and do the things that you need to do, even if you don't see something blooming. Because it's happening. You know how it works with our flowers, with our plants. The roots are taking hold. And that is you. That's what happens in our winter seasons. We have to do the things that we see no fruit for. And then it blooms. If we do our things, if we show up, if we are, faithful to the things that we want to do. And then the blooms will happen. I know it because I've seen it in my own life over and over and over again. All right, my loves, I am going to show up here and see what happens and see what kind of mischief I can get into and create something with lots of texture and some tiny little flowers in there somewhere. All right, my loves, I hope your Sunday is restful and peaceful. I hope that you remind yourself that you are a perennial. Things are working underground. You're still here. You're still doing the things. Keep going. And I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.